Life as an entrepreneur can be chaotic. There are client crises, technical glitches, and other unexpected obstacles. It can feel like so much is out of our control. But what I've found is that the time we have the most control over is first thing in the morning. And that's why I feel it's so important to develop a morning routine. What you do first thing in the morning can determine if you are going to have a successful and productive day or a disastrous one. In today's video, I'm sharing my morning routine, specifically the 5 habits that I feel set me up for success. My name is Kaye, and this is Branding Outside the Box, where I help authors and entrepreneurs become more memorable and make more meaningful connections. Not only am I an entrepreneur, but I'm also a mom, which means I do not have 100% control over my schedule. It seems like no matter how early I decide to wake up, my son decides to wake up at that time too. So whenever I hear advice like journal 5 pages first thing in the morning or meditate for 10 minutes as soon as you wake up, I'm thinking these people obviously don't have kids. If you have full control over your morning routine, then congratulations, you are one step ahead of the game and kind of out of excuses. But if you have kids, pets, aging parents, or other responsibilities that make it difficult to have a consistent morning routine, then do not worry. Whether you're doing your morning routine at 5 a.m. when you first wake up or at 9 a.m. after you've dropped the kids off at school, it is still considered my morning routine. The most important thing is that it happens before you dive into your workday. So again, do not worry. These habits do not have to happen first thing in the morning. They don't even have to happen at the same time every single day, as long as you get it done before you start your work. The first thing I do is plan out my day. Now, this isn't done in a Google Calendar or in a task management system. This is putting pen to paper. You can do this in a day planner, a journal, or even just a notepad. But write out your schedule, your little tasks, your major projects, and start to visualize what your day is going to look like. Again, it's really crucial that you put pen to paper on this, because the more you can get a sense of what your day is going to look like, the more you'll ensure that you actually get everything done. If you need some guidance on this, I've been using the Panda Planner for a couple of years now, and I love it. You can click the link in my video description to check it out and see if it's right for you. Whatever method you choose, the important thing is to write it all out. Google Calendars, iCals, and task management systems are great for keeping track of long-term projects. But when it comes to mapping out your actual day, writing it out is going to reinforce what your top priorities are. It's going to help you avoid distractions, and it's also going to pinpoint any obstacles or challenges that you might have. For example, you might have tasked out a project in Asana, not realizing that your Google Calendar is pretty full that day. So when you start to write out your schedule, you'll see that, oh, I have 4 hours worth of projects to do of actual work, but then I also have 4 hours of meetings. So how am I going to get all that done? You're not. If you're blindly going through your Asana tasks and blindly going just through your Google Calendar, you're not going to realize that you do not have enough time to complete everything until the day is already over. The second habit I have first thing in the morning is email triage. Now, this is not checking and addressing every email. It's going through and scanning for important things or other emergencies. Now, I know there are lots of business gurus out there who discourage from checking your email first thing in the morning, that it hinders your creativity and it puts you in a bad mindset. But the fact is, I disagree. I believe that if something is blowing up in your business, like if a customer is unhappy or if something is going wrong or a client has a crisis, you should know about that first thing in the morning. There's nothing worse than going about your creative day only to get phone calls, frantic texts, and emails saying that this emergency is happening and it's getting worse because you're not dealing with it. So every morning, usually when I'm brushing my teeth, I scan through my emails and I look at anything that's urgent. Now, I'm not opening these emails. This is key. I'm just looking at the subject lines and the email preview and saying, okay, this can be dealt with later, this can be dealt with later. And if there's an emergency, I handle it. I also look through to see if there's anything I can delegate, because the quicker I get something onto my team's plate, the quicker they can start working on it. So maybe I'm not going to be checking my inbox for 4 hours, 5 hours. But then if I see, oh, I need them to deal with something, maybe they were ready to start their day at 8 a.m. and could have been doing that while I was, working in a deep project or working out or at a client meeting. So first thing in the morning, I look for anything urgent. Then I delegate any emails that need to be delegated. And then I look through and star the emails that I need to answer first. So it's prioritizing my inbox. I usually wake up to anywhere from 40 to 50 emails. And sometimes it's definitely not the most amount of emails, but it's a fair amount of emails. And so if I'm able to prioritize which ones I need to look at first when I am ready to check my inbox, it helps increase my productivity. Now, again, I'd like to reinforce that I do all of this while I'm brushing my teeth in the morning. Unless there's a client crisis, I'm not opening my computer, I'm not touching anything. I'm just looking through, delegating, deleting, and starring. I'd like to touch on deleting for a moment. Whenever there's an email in your inbox that you do not want there, that you don't know the person or you're not interested in getting their e-blast, whatever it may be, you should not just delete it, but also unsubscribe and possibly mark it as spam. The reason is that if you do this and nip this in the bud, it's going to prevent your inbox from getting overloaded in the future. So yes, while you're on your phone, it's so tempting to just swipe to delete or archive that email. But if you take a little bit of extra time to hit unsubscribe and possibly report it as spam, it's going to make sure that your inbox is way less cluttered in the future. The most important thing about this email triage process is to only touch things once. I'm sure you're guilty of it. I sure am, where you open an email, read it, and say, I'm going to do this later. I don't feel like dealing with it. Close it, mark it as unread, and deal with it later. So there could be a day where you're looking at the same email 5 or 6 times because you just think you're going to deal with it and then decide not to. Touch your emails once. So if you look at the subject line and I think I know what that is, it's not urgent, and I'm not ready to deal with it yet, there's no point to open it. So touch your emails only once. Don't keep going back and forth marking things as unread. Once you open it, deal with it. This email triage process takes me about 15 minutes each morning. If your email triage is taking you 30 minutes or more, chances are you are not delegating or deleting enough emails. My third habit is that I drink 8 to 10 ounces of water and I eat a nourishing breakfast. Now, this may sound so simple, but can you honestly tell me that there haven't been days where you powered through relying solely on coffee to get you through the morning? By eating a nourishing breakfast and starting your day with 8 to 10 ounces of water, you're basically fueling the entrepreneur, ensuring that you are set up for success and able to perform at your highest capacity. Now, this brings me to the fourth habit. First thing in the morning, before I dive into work, I move my body. For those of you who do not have kids or other responsibilities and you can work out first thing in the morning, congratulations, you have no excuses. Wake up, work out first thing in the morning before you start anything. I used to always work out first thing in the morning, but now that I have a son who wakes up at 6 and we have to get out the door to school by 7:15, there really isn't much wiggle room for working out. Unless I wanted to wake up at 5 a.m., but if I woke up at 5 a.m., chances are he'd be waking up then too. So while most of my bigger workouts happen on my lunch hour or later in the afternoon, I still do something first thing in the morning to move my body and get the circulation going. Sometimes it's a yoga stretch while he eats his breakfast, or it's jumping jacks while I'm waiting for him to brush his teeth. It could even just be a couple of push-ups and sit-ups right before you head out the door. Whatever it is, do it first thing before you sit down at your computer to ensure that your creative juices are flowing through circulation, movement, and you're not just walking around stiff all day. And the final habit is that I do not check social media first thing in the morning. I know it's tempting and we all want that dopamine hit right away. We want to see what engagement or likes or messages came in while we were sleeping, but it's really too dangerous. You're too likely to get sucked down a rabbit hole or maybe feel discouraged because you didn't get the engagement you were hoping for, or maybe you're distracted by something another entrepreneur was doing. Whatever the case may be, stay off social media until you have completed 1, ideally 2 projects in your business. And I'm saying this as someone who manages our clients' social media. I do not dive into social media first thing in the morning even if that is creating content for our clients. I'll create the content, but I'm not scrolling through the feeds looking for things to comment on or like first thing in the morning. I want to do something else. Again, it's tempting. I know we're all tempted. Our alarm goes off, we grab our phones and we just start scrolling. Do not get sucked down the rabbit hole. Try it for at least a week and you will notice the difference. To recap, here is my morning routine, which sets me up for a successful day. First, I plan out my day by putting pen to paper. Second, I perform email triage. Third, I eat a nourishing breakfast and drink water. Fourth, I move my body. And fifth, I abstain from social media. Like I said, my mornings can get crazy, so I don't expect to complete all of this first thing in the morning. I sometimes plan my day while we're eating breakfast or do squats while I'm waiting for the boy to get dressed. Whatever it is, just fit it in when you can, as long as you get everything done before you start work. Sometimes for me, this entire morning routine doesn't happen until I get back from school drop-off. By working through this morning routine before you dive into your work, it will ensure that you stay focused, organized, and excited for the day ahead. For more guidance on productivity or structuring your day, I encourage you to download my free productivity toolkit. This toolkit includes resources to help you manage your inbox, calendar, and also client expectations. It also has 2 free planner sheets, one for the day, one for the week, so you can start putting pen to paper and mapping out your plans. Visit brandingoutsidethebox.com/productivity toolkit or click the link in the description of this video. And if you want more guidance on productivity, be sure to watch the other videos in this playlist.